Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are interviewing winners of the WSOP Online Bracelet Series this summer in 2021. This gentleman was on the show previously back in March because we were talking with him as he finished in fourth place during the WSOP main event last year, the domestic main event, the 10K buy-in, which was held in December of 2020. It was won by Joseph Hebert, who we had on the show. But we also had Ryan Hagerty on the show as he talked about his experience throughout the event and also making the final table. Joseph Hebert actually said during his interview that Ryan was the player that he feared the most. But Ryan since then has had a very good run at the tables. Not only has he won a bracelet that we are talking about, he won the $500 Turbo back on July 23rd, but he also won a WSOP circuit ring during the Summer Super Series, a $320 buy-in six max for almost $23,000. So welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, Ryan Hagerty. Now we can say a bracelet winner. Ryan, thanks for joining us once again here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be here.
Last time we talked about it, obviously came very close to winning the domestic side. And of course, you still had to win the heads up, which was ended up being Damian Salas and Damian won. But, and obviously a much bigger payday, upwards of $387,000. But winning a bracelet isn't a bad thing. Compare the two. You win the bracelet for $67,000. You come in fourth for $387,000. One has a ton more money, 6 times more money. However, the other one has a bracelet. To you, which one is more satisfying?
I mean, I'm definitely still got to go with the live finish. I thought that was really cool getting to play at the final table. After playing, I thought the whole event was cool, playing 2 days online, then playing at the final table. But at the same time, winning the bracelet, coming in first place is awesome in itself. I mean, it's always like when you play a tournament and you get the best result possible and you win, you get some hardware with it. I mean, it's awesome. They're both great. I mean, I'm mainly picking the other one because it was also a lot more money too. So I mean,
right. But
it was cool to play on TV and be at a live final table. But no, the bracelet's awesome, and like being able to play bracelet events online. That they started doing. During COVID, that was the first time they did a huge bracelet series. They had done them. Right. They did a couple the year before, but then they did a huge bracelet series. They did it again this year. The prize pools aren't as massive as last year because people aren't as locked down in their homes, but they're still really good and great for the game. And I love it. And I've been trying hard to win one of these online bracelets. I've been playing the whole series in July and had been bricking pretty hard, and it was there's the buy-ins are expensive, so I've been bricking pretty hard, and I was like trying to get one, and then the day before I won, I got fifth in the knockout, which was cool, and then the next day I just win it. So yeah, no, it was awesome.
Right. And I mentioned to you, I was out there in Nevada playing, and a couple times you and I were at the same table. You didn't know it. I didn't mention it to you or text you or anything like that. I have my name online is Dogger9 in Nevada. Ironically, it's Dogger99 in New Jersey because you can't have the same name. And I just flipped over for Pennsylvania and I put Dogger999. So it just makes life a lot easier with regards to it. And I remember writing down, because I look down whoever's on the table, search their name, and I thought I knew your name, and I remember you were at my table. You were definitely, because I remember looking at it, and I didn't get necessarily deep, but I cashed in both of those events that you're talking about. So it must have been one of those as we got down. Talk a little bit about the Turbo event. It was very different than the other events. The other events, just to put into perspective for everyone, starts at 3:00 West Coast time, 6 o'clock East Coast time. Usually it's about a 2 hour and 45-minute late reg. So you really have a lot of time to get in if you want. Multiple re-entries. Usually you get up to 2 re-entries. Some of them are not. The knockout wasn't. It was just a freeze out. And then they usually last for multiple hours, about 9 hours until you get to the final table. So it's usually 3 o'clock West Coast. You get to the final table right around 11, 12 o'clock. East Coast, 6 o'clock. You get around to the final table around 3-ish a.m., 3 a.m. But this one, very different, right? Not 15-minute levels, 8-minute levels, turbo, hyper turbo. Instead of it being about 10, 11, 12 hours, this thing was done in 6 hours real quick, right?
Yeah, aside from they had a hyper earlier in the series. Aside from that, and this one almost felt like it was even faster, even though it wasn't a hyper.
Right.
I don't know. I'm actually yeah, it was really fast. I remember like just being on the bubble and like the amount of stacks that were like 10 bigs or less, and 10 bigs was actually kind of a decent stack.
Right.
And I was just in my head, I was like, once we get in the money, like this is gonna go really, really fast. And we got in the money, and then I just doubled up in a blind versus blind pot, and all of a sudden I was just like, I think I got a couple shoves through. I doubled up in a blind versus blind pot, and all of a sudden I was like top 7 in chips, and I was just like that. Like it was the tournament was just crazy. It was really fast, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to just get pretty lucky in these tournaments. I mean, you can play, you play as good as you can, but in a tournament like that, like your all in game's gonna have to be pretty good.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, after a certain point, you can make the right decision, but a lot of times the best you're going to be 60-40, and sometimes you're going to be a 40-60, and you're going to have to win them, right? I mean, that it's as simple as that. There's nothing you can really do about it, and you just play the best pre-flop game you can, because that's really what it came down to. After a certain point, it was just raise, shove all in, whatever it was. Very few post-flop betting after the money bubble, bro. You and I were talking about this when after the money bubble broke, I doubled up once, tripled up again, and then played a third hand. Maybe it was like the 4th hand after the bubble, and I still ended up finishing like 60th, and the money broke at 90. So 30 people got knocked out in like 3 or 4 hands. I mean, that's how crazy it was, because like you said, the stacks were so short. But if you got through a couple of them, had I won that last hand, what it was, I think I would have ended up being like you said, you were top 7. I probably would have been a top 10, top 15 stack. So it really, really was quick, right?
Yeah, it was super fast, and if you just doubled up once or twice, all of a sudden you're just all the way up there. And
Right.
and yeah, and then we got it just was like, all right, 4 tables left, boom, 3 tables left, boom, 2 tables left. All of a sudden we're final table, and then final table went really fast until like
Right.
three hand. It was just like took forever. It was like no one was busting. Heads up for how shallow we were. Heads up, that heads up match me very long for how shallow we were. It was back and forth, and just like all these 25K all in flips, and I'm like finally I just won 2 in a row, and I just won the tournament.
Right. And just to put in perspective for everyone, it took like 6 minutes to do 4 eliminations at the final table. I mean, it was just so quick to get down.
I got dealt kings and 8. I got dealt like kings back-to-back hands or something like that, and knocked 2 people out.
Right. And it's like no one can really wait. It's not like you can sit there and be like, oh, well, I'll wait for a better spot with King Jack. You're like, that's it. That's good enough. Let's go. And, someone's going to have something along the way, or it's going to get down to someone in the hijacker cutoff, and they're going to be like, listen, I got 8 bigs. I can't wait here. I got to shove. And so if anyone does wake up with any reasonable hand, some pocket pair, even middling pocket pair, or ace something, it's going to end up being an all in and a call. And that's what really happened for like 5-6 minutes really quick, right?
Yeah, there was some pretty big coolers. I mean, there was a really crazy sequence where I lost ace king suited against aces, and then I knocked a guy out with aces against ace queen. I knocked a guy out with kings, and then someone lost with jacks to aces, and that was all within like I feel like it was a 5-10 minute span. It just happened so fast. Like all of a sudden, like, it was like 3-4 players just got knocked out, like boom, in like 5-10 minutes, and then it took a little bit longer to get to tiny bit longer to get to three-handed, and then three-handed it just was forever. But yeah, no, it's. But I mean, like you said, I mean, like there's just a final table like that's never going to go too long because people are going to have to shove, and as the blinds are going up really fast.
Right. We're talking about Ryan Hagerty, who just won the $500 Turbo WSOP bracelet event for his first bracelet. You get to heads up. And now, I mean, when you guys first started, there was less than like 25 big blinds. When you started, I think at the end, there was less than like 12 or something like that, right? It was crazy. You guys each had like 6 or 7 big blinds, and it just kept going back and forth and back and forth. What I was watching, it was just, like I said, it was just coincidence that I went out to get something to eat, came back, and it was three-handed. And so although it took a long time, relative to what you were playing at the final table, it took probably like 20 minutes. It felt like a long time when you're playing heads up in a turbo.
Yeah, it was like 20, 25, 30 minutes or something like that. And it felt a lot longer because you kind of expected it to be like, okay, like we're heads up, like someone's going to win in the next like 5-10 minutes probably. And like, that just didn't happen. It was just like, it felt like every time there was like every time the person at risk was all in, they won like over and over and over and over. And it was just like, oh my God, like, you know, it's like, you know, it's like when you're playing a heads up like that, it's super stressful because a lot of times there's just really not much you can do. Like there's not like, it's not like you're playing like, you know, 30 big blinds effective and you can like actually like, you know, play like it's like you can actually like play post flop. We played some post flop where like, you know, like, you know, one of us would limp in and then we would check line, and there was some post flop and you know, and then any post flop pot is obviously going to be super significant too. I mean, and so, but very little of it. And yeah, I mean, it's just like there's a lot. Most of the spots like it's kind of like a little bit out of your control. You know, you just make the best decisions as far as like what to shove and what to call off, and then just hope you win the tournament. That's really all there is to it.
Right. I mean, and like you said, when you have like 12, 14 big blinds in total, I mean, we're not saying one person had that as a stack. We're talking both of them combined. That's all they had. So if one person limps and the other person just checks it, that's 2 big blinds. That's 15% of what's on the table. So obviously,
I think we had a little more than. I think there was a little more total than that. Was there?
Oh, was there? I thought it was down to like less than. I mean, I know that when you guys started, I thought there was like 20, 25 bigs. But I thought when you guys got down to it, it just got so shallow.
It might have been at the very end. It might have been like 15 big ones or something like that. Yeah, I'm not
right. I know when you guys started, it was different, but like, but I mean, think about it. 8 minute blinds. You guys played for over 20 minutes. It went through 2 or 3 levels easily.
It got really shallow. I mean, eventually it was just like, all right, like, you know, they're almost like they were blinding us out of the tournament, almost like they were blinding us into being all in each other. Right.
Just to be. So you talk about it's very stressful. I mean, I'll tell you, it was very stressful for me just thinking about being in that spot to be like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Like, you know, I look down at Queen 5, I guess I got to go. Like, you don't have really of a choice. And that's kind of what it ended up being for you. How do you make those literally massive decisions for a bracelet right here, and you just have to go with the odds, right? Because there's no way that they can always have a premium hand, but of course a lot of times when they flipped it over, they did. I mean, I saw a lot of times you guys you would call with like King 10 and the guy would flip over Ace 8 and you're like, what is going on here? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never really played a heads up where like both stacks are so shallow. I've obviously played heads up where I'm shallow and the other person has a lot of chips. I played heads up like those. I mean, I've definitely been in like, you know, I've definitely been in heads ups kind of like these, more so in like,
it's like a
I don't know. I've played turbos before where heads up has been, but this was like a really turbo, and you're playing for so much money, but at the same time, like you just and you can, and the thing is, you can I was able to find times where I could limp too, because he's not just going to shove anything. Like he can like, and he did the same thing. He was limping too, because we're not just going to like look down at like, Jack Deuce offsuit and just like, oh, all in over your limp. So we were doing some limping, and then at the end of the day, like I just shoved the hands that I've been playing poker long, and I know how to play these stack depths, and I just
Right.
even though it's for a lot of money, like you just got to make the best decision you can, and as far as what to shove and what to call off, and there's nothing else you can really do about it. And I'm pretty confident in my decision making in that regard, but and then it's up to the board. Hopefully I win, and it was just so back and forth, all these all ins, and I felt pretty good about how I played heads up given the situation, because it's not really an easy heads up to play, because you can make one bad shove and lose the tournament, and then you're just going to be sitting there regretting it. So you don't want to have to feel that. But I felt good about how I played. Was able to get the win. It's just when you're playing for 25,000, you'd like it to not be so turbo-ish, but like that's the way the tournament was. So you had to do it.
Right. And I mean, the prestige of a bracelet. I mean, this is like, as close as you're have been. And now you have this opportunity to win a bracelet here, and crazy I mean, there were times where it was like 11, somebody loses, there was an all in somebody, and then all of a sudden the chip stacks flip-flopped, somebody had 11 million, someone had 3 million, and then all in, and then it went the other way, or what. It was crazy how it just kept, like you said, everybody who was short just kept going, and then it got to even, and then it went one way, and then went back and forth, and it really could have been anyone's game, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, it was really back and forth. But yeah, no, getting the bracelet, yeah, I was ecstatic, really.
Yeah. So what's the plan from here? Obviously, finish out the series here for WSOP.com, but any plans on going overseas to play in the GGPoker series?
So obviously I'm gonna finish playing this series. So I'm going on vacation early August, and then I am going to go and play in I'm going to go to Pennsylvania and play those bracelets. I'm really excited about that. I like playing in Pennsylvania. And then after that, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I know I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna go overseas or anything, but I know I'm gonna go play. There's finally gonna be a WPT on the East Coast in Maryland Live. I'm gonna play that in December, and then comes WSOP coming up in the fall. So I'll be there. So yeah.
So for you, I mean, Pennsylvania, obviously phenomenal, right? Are you fairly close to the border?
Yeah, it's just like in an hour-ish so ride for me, and I'm just gonna rent an Airbnb out and just play the. It's like I think it's like the 8th to the 15th, and yeah, I'm just gonna play the bracelet series. I think it's really cool that they're doing that. A lot of people think like like they're just like, oh, they're just giving away bracelets now. I'm like, but it's cool, like I mean, I think it's awesome. I get to go play for more bracelets in Pennsylvania,
right?
And it's just good for the game. Like the prize pools are going to be pretty good. Like I'm excited to go there and play that. So yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how many people. I mean, my assumption would be is that everyone basically from New Jersey is just going to drive over, because it's literally less than an hour away for most people to get to the border.
A lot of people will, yeah.
Yeah, and so everyone who's from Jersey will just go over, and then it's a question of how many people will travel from there to kind of go there. What's the plan for the live WSOP? Is it you're going to be there the entire 6-7 weeks?
Nah, I'm not gonna. I don't like playing like like massive schedules like that and getting burnt out with live poker. I'll be more selective with my tournaments and kind of pick out the ones I want to play. Right. I don't know if I'll go there and play for a little bit and come back maybe and then go back. I don't want to be like burnt out by the time the main event comes and just be like a zombie. And sometimes when you're playing so many tournaments, so many days, you can just get really exhausted. So I'm gonna play a good bunch. I don't know exactly how many. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna look more into it and kind of make my schedule, but I'm not gonna be one of those guys that just plays like the whole entire slate and just is there
Right.
for like 6 weeks. Like that's a little bit too much, but I'm definitely going to play. I'll probably play for a week or two and then I'll play for a week or two ish. Pick some tournaments. Like I definitely want to play like the Millie Maker and stuff like that, and the Monster Stack, whatever those are. Like those are 2 tournaments. Like I obviously always want to play. Whatever there's going to be like I haven't even really looked at the schedule to be honest with you, but I'm assuming there's some kind of like Colossus maybe.
Yeah.
I would play that. I think so. I'll play those and pick out other stuff, play some stuff at other casinos too, but never gonna probably be playing like 6-7 weeks because the main event's gonna come and I want to be ready to go when the main event comes. And sometimes for me personally, like if I play that big of a schedule, the main event comes and I'm just gonna be like, oh, the biggest tournament's here and I'm just not fully locked in and I want to be locked in.
Right. Yeah. And so for the World Series, there is a Colossus that's later on. It's like the weekend before the main event, but the first event of the whole kind of series, the big one is what they're calling the reunion, $500 buy-in, $5 million guaranteed prize pool.
I'll be playing that.
That's the one I'm playing. Yeah. So I mean I think the series, it'll be exciting to see the series come back to the Rio for the last time, of course, and then we'll kind of go from there. But hey, Ryan, congratulations! What a great run in this event. Short, long, doesn't really matter. It is a bracelet, and yeah, exactly. And like I said, the biggest thing is, it doesn't matter what tournament you play in, even if it's a sit and go, like a 10-person sit and go to this event, with for a bracelet, obviously, and trying to take it down and playing online. Still, there were, over almost 700 people playing in this event. It doesn't matter what event you're playing in. To win it is always a difficult task, and it's always exciting to win it. So congratulations on that, and you got your bracelet. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Ryan Hagerty here, a bracelet winner in the $500 Turbo event. Stay tuned. We're going to talk with more bracelet winners when we return here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show.